This is an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar looking at multicam editing in Adobe Premiere Pro CC. This is Larry Jordan. In this excerpt, I discuss what you need to know before you start editing multicam sequences in Premiere. Multi-camera editing allows us to view and edit multiple camera images at the same time as though we were at a live event. Multicam allows us to edit more efficiently. Multicam editing is most often used for performances in sports, though increasingly we're seeing it used in reality and scripted drama. Multicam editing is not designed for film-style shoots using one camera, creating multiple takes. All the cameras need to be recording the same performance at the same time. Multicam is not a mixing or effects technique. The results of a multicam edit are a single stream of full-screen video. It does not allow us to create effects such as picture-in-picture or multi-track audio mixes or to display more than one image at a time. In general, we use two passes during a multicam edit, one for the video edit and a second for audio cleanup and mix. The workflow for multicam starts with importing media and, if necessary, creating proxies, which has become easier in recent versions of Premiere. Then we set sync points for all clips. There's a variety that we can choose from. We create a multicam sequence and modify it, if necessary, using Open in Timeline. We display the different angles in a multi-camera monitor, edit the sequence, then trim, tweak, and add effects as necessary, and when everything is complete, we flatten the multicam sequence when we're done editing. A few definitions to start with. Multicam sequence, angle, cut, and switch. A multicam sequence is a sequence that contains multiple streams or clips of synchronized media. An angle is a track within a multicam sequence that can contain one or more audio or video clips, as well as still images. A cut means to add an edit point at the position of the playhead and change the downstream angle. A switch is when we change from one angle to another without adding a new edit point. In other words, it's a replace edit. There's no limit to the number of clips in a sequence, though a more practical limit is 18 to 24 clips, depending upon storage bandwidth. An angle generally contains one clip, but can contain more. Multicam sequences can mix and match frame rates, frame sizes, codecs, and scanning, meaning progressive versus interlaced. However, for best results, I recommend transcoding all media first. And for multicam clips with lots of angles, using proxy media is strongly advised. Clips display in the order in which they were selected. This is an important point. The order in which you select clips determines how they're displayed, but this can be changed with the Edit Cameras command. It isn't obvious, but your storage is much more important than your computer speed when editing multicam clips. There are three storage factors you need to consider: capacity, bandwidth, and seek time. Capacity is obvious. Clearly, you need room to hold your media. Bandwidth refers to storage speed, which is also called the data transfer rate between the storage and the computer. Now, bandwidth is important because each angle is a separate stream of video. In general, depending upon a number of factors, a single hard drive transfers data between 80 and 150 megabytes per second. An SSD transfers data about 400 megabytes per second. And a RAID can transfer data anywhere from 350 megabytes per second to 1.5 gigabytes per second. And SSD RAIDs are the best choice for multicam editing. Here's some typical data rates, assuming that we're shooting 1080p video at 30 frames a second. The numbers change as the frame rate changes or the frame size changes. If we're working with AVC HD, a single stream is about 4.5 megabytes a second. Changing the codec to XDCAM HD is about 8 megabytes a second. ProRes 422 proxy is 5.5 megabytes a second, and ProRes 422 is 18 megabytes a second, and a RED file is about 38 megabytes a second. Now, none of those seem very overwhelming, and as a single stream, they're not. But when we're doing multicam work, we're not dealing with one stream or two, or maybe we're dealing with 4 or 6 or 8, and suddenly those numbers become a lot more difficult. AVC HD goes from 4.5 megabytes to 18 to, for 8 streams, 36. ProRes 422 proxy goes from 5.5 to 22.5 to 45. And ProRes 422, 18 to 72 to 144. Well, as we start to add more streams and as our codecs become optimized for editing, which is ProRes or DNX HD or GoPro Cineform, the file sizes are so much bigger they can't be handled by a single hard drive. It is very, very easy for us to overdrive the bandwidth of our storage as we move into multicam editing. And compression is also relevant. The more highly compressed a video format is, the harder it is to edit in a multicam clip. Formats like this would include AVC HD, H.264, and many flavors of MPEG-4. That's why transcoding, which simply means converting our video from one format to another, that's why transcoding is so helpful. It converts video from a complex, hard to decompress format into something much easier for the computer to deal with. The problem is, codecs that are efficient to edit are much bigger than codecs that are shot by most cameras or the codecs that we use for final distribution, because the compression is so much simpler to decode inside an editing package. Seek time is also important. The need for enough storage, meaning capacity, is obvious, and sufficient bandwidth and the codec you choose are less obvious but make sense when you understand them. But seek time can blindside you. Seek time is the time it takes to move the heads of a spinning media hard disk. The more streams you are playing, the faster the hard drive heads need to jump from one clip to another to keep up. If they're just playing a single file, that's straightforward. But if they're playing 4 files, they've got to jump from the middle of one clip to the middle of another clip almost instantaneously to keep those 4 clips in sync. Move that to 6 clips or 8 clips, and the heads are going nuts. If you are editing lots of streams, an SSD RAID will provide better performance than spinning media because there are no heads in an SSD RAID. Seek times disappear because there's no mechanical movement. This has been an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar on multicam editing inside Adobe Premiere Pro CC. For the complete version of this online training, please visit our store at larryjordan.com/store and look for Webinar 228. By the way, membership is a great value when you need to stretch your training dollars. A membership to our video training library saves you money and time. You can access all our videos for a low monthly price of only $19.99. That's more than 1,600 movies, hundreds of hours, all in depth and easy to view. Plus, premium members can now access sample media and projects. Our training covers Apple and Adobe software. We update it several times a month, and for more information, visit larryjordan.com/membership. And thanks.